Hello, I'm Christian Fraser. You're watching The Context on BBC News. Boris Johnson has offered MPs a wholehearted apology after being fined by police for breaking lockdown rules. He offered this explanation for reasons behind the rule breaking.
It did not occur to me then or subsequently that a gathering in the Cabinet room just before a vital meeting on COVID strategy could amount to a breach of the rule.
The leader of the opposition calls the apology a joke. Straight after that apology, Boris Johnson tried to switch the focus to the war in Ukraine. And the war rages on as Russian and Ukrainian forces engage along a 480-kilometre front line as the fight for the eastern Donbass region begins in earnest. Tonight, with The Context, Natalie Tocci, director of Italy's Institute of International Affairs, and the Republican strategist, Doug Heye. Hello, a warm welcome to the programme. The guiding principle of Boris Johnson's long political career, a principle it seems he shared with Donald Trump, was never to apologise, never explain. But in recent weeks, Prime Minister has been forced into all manner of explanations and a series of scripted apologies to the House for breaching the very COVID regulations he had set for the rest of us. Today, Mr Johnson was at it again, the first opportunity since the Easter recess to address the Commons and apologise unreservedly for a penalty notice he was handed last week by the Metropolitan Police. A fine he has since paid. But the outstanding question remains whether Mr Johnson intentionally misled the House when he advised them there had been no parties in Number 10, and whether this latest apology settles the score with his restive backbenchers. We'll leave it there. General Zweig, it's lovely to have you back on the programme. Thank you very much indeed for your analysis. Do stay with us on the programme. We're going to talk about the effect of the war on the global economy. The IMF reporting today that forecasts for next year will be downgraded, and it's having an enormous effect, of course, on the cost of living. Inflation, a principal objective for the IMF to tackle, and the central banks around the world. We're going to get into all of that. We're also going to talk about an asteroid on a lighter note that has landed in the West Midlands here in England. A search has been ongoing for that asteroid over the course of the weekend. We'll be talking to the team on the ground who have been looking for it. Stay with us. Natalie Tocci will be here. Doug Heye also with his Republican strategist. You're watching The Context here on the BBC. Hello, I'm Christian Fraser. You're watching The Context on BBC News. Boris Johnson has apologised to the House of Commons after he was fined by police for attending a lockdown party in Downing Street. But the Prime Minister says it's his duty to carry on. Part of that duty involves the UK government's response to Ukraine, where Russia's second offensive has begun in the Donbass region. The International Monetary Fund says the global economy will be severely set back by the war in Ukraine, with the UK economy forecast to grow the slowest of the G7 economies next year. And if you live in Shrewsbury, England, have you discovered a small piece of rock that looks like this? If you have, there's a scientist who's looking for you. Tonight, with The Context, Natalie Tocci, director of Italy's Institute of International Affairs, and the Republican strategist, Doug Heye. Welcome back. The global economy was just beginning to recover from the COVID pandemic when Russia launched its assault on Ukraine, driving up prices across the board. To no one's surprise, the International Monetary Fund today cut its global growth forecast while warning that next year the impact could be particularly severe for the UK. The IMF also warned of another threat to the global economy. Well, best of luck with the search there in Shrewsbury. Thank you very much for coming on the programme. Thank you also to Natalie Tocci down there in the wilderness, who's battled through without lights in the meteor shower light there in South Africa. And Doug Heye, thank you very much indeed. I hope you find your keys. Do you know where you lost them?
Yeah, they're somewhere here. We'll find them.
Very good. Well, Doug Hyde, Athley Touchy, thank you very much indeed for being with us. Do join us tomorrow. We'll be back at the same time. Thanks for being with us. Good night.
Hello. We'll see the weather becoming quieter for the northeast of the US and eastern Canada